Moving spirits in the walls and floor, taste you in the lively array. I avoid the reality of the mundanes. Touch it for me, reveal your vanity. She moved lynx-like and bent to oblige, like a bat leathern winged, tight in the suck that she enjoys. Freya kneels at the hour of her penitence, the hour of pentacles. I have come like a flower that is cut down, a fleeing shadow that ever continues in continual darkness anew. Love is at its height is when it's opposed. Vengeance is at its height is when it's redeemed. Pain is at its height when things are let go. I have received witchery, and witchery is at its height when it seduces. And I shall drum the satanic snares of oblivion on the darkest night of the year to attain you, Freya at the flesh-hold. I know through witchery you abolished my mistress. She nearly bled to death under me. I sweated out all of the tempest, removed her from my necronomical equation, my Luciferian Lilithian liberation. On witches' night we met in Black Magus Excelsis, the premier occult occasion for gatherers of the arcane. You will know that the height of lust is when it is taken, when witches' night Walpurgis not rings. It is there that unto Anubis I shall sing. Mankind is a slave in its finitude. They are spiritually impoverished with a little regard for human life. The cascade of desires, elevation, usurp our dispossession. The youth of the miserable dereliction. Sense of the febrile burned on the pyre of extermination. I say burn, so be it. Satan is a carnage to come. This is the counterintuitive nature of mankind's deliverance to darkness, a darkness that they themselves embrace. Not a God of peace, but a God of brutality, war and inquisition, and I know that so profound was the experience you killed to keep it close to my heart. I did and will again. This is the law of might, the law of the illuminist, the law of the beast. Death lurks in my shadow. It lies at the heart of human existence and travail. I do not arrive as a radical contingency, but as a certainty. For at any random moment, we would be thrown into the hungry ghosts. It's my favorite day of the week. It's Freya's Day in Chicago, Illinois, and the Edie are out running around. I saw a few of them in the subway earlier. It was kind of bizarre. You get the homeless people, they're all ragged and snowbound, and I wanted to take some pictures, but that was kind of crazy. And then I got on the blue line. This guy had a guitar, and he was blasting it out, and this drummer was drumming on the other side, and they were contradicting each other, and it was causing a cacophony. And so in the middle of it, I started like humming and chanting, and I was the only one that made money. And I just do it every now and then, but I'm kind of getting kicks out of it. But in that cacophony, when in the two sides of the tunnel, it just sounded so intense, like because you had this anathema things. They were almost fighting with each other. This guy is railing on his metal guitar, and then you had this other guy on his drums, but his drums were all screwed up. Like it was all like, just like some plastic can or something, and it was so funny. And my assistant was with me, and she's like, what is going on? And then she was like, because I never really brought her around for studio or anything, and she's over at the lovely cafe now, but she was like, what is going on? And then I started chanting, and then she kind of picked up on it really quick. It was so ridiculous and really bizarre. Some of the things that happen in a major metropolitan city that I like, which makes me miss New York. But see, in New York, you can't do stuff like this. New York, for all of its veneer and filth or whatever, or so-called liberated thinking, they're very strict. It's almost like republicanism shrouded in some kind of false sense of democracy. It's very over-policed. And you can't jam in the tunnels. You can't. They'll come down and they'll rake you around, and they give you a real hard time. On New Year's Eve, I had some friends and some painters from Brooklyn, and they had all their vampire teeth in and everything, and I didn't have mine in. But anyway, deviating. That's the type of crowd they are, and they go to a place called the Pyramid, New York, and I fly in over there quite a bit and go to the Pyramid on off days now, and just go hang out with them. But they came here, and they said they feel a lot more free in Chicago, and I said that's kind of what my draw was as well, because I like the intensity of New York City. I like the compression, and I like the fact that you have everything all the time, 24 hours a day, but there are some serious drawbacks like this over-policing and this unrelaxed attitude, and the expenditure in New York City is outrageous. When I lived in off Flatbush Avenue near Red Hook, I was retracing the steps of H.P. Lovecraft and his wife at that time. That's why I lived there. But plus, I had been in different areas. I'd been in Lower West Side and Alphabet City. And I just did the whole gambit, following different people on East End and stuff, in how they lived and stuff when they were in New York. But that was then. And now, if I had that lifestyle now, I would have to be making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. My friends do it because they just live like all together. I mean, they make good money too. These people aren't stupid, but they have like 3 roommates and rent control. And there's always a battle, and it's all it's a struggle, man. And Chicago does not so much. I can have like a bunch of different stuff in a lot of different places and not be so caught up on stuff, which I enjoy. And it's very intense. Like the things that happen in New York are so bizarre. One morning, I was dating this Italian model lady who wanted to start this new art movement in Brooklyn. And now it's all solidified and hipster haven and all this nonsense. But back then, it was some time ago, it wasn't so much. And I remember her thinking I was crazy for wanting to live in Brooklyn. But we went walking down the street, and there was this massive cemetery, like huge cemetery. It's probably one of the biggest in the world. It's by no exaggeration. It's been shot in like every movie you'd ever want to think about New York City. The view is spectacular. George Washington supposedly landed there or something and escaped, and all of this history is around there. And I'm walking down, and there's this guy impaled on the fence with a spike shooting up out of his mouth, because surrounding this thing, has this huge spiked gate around it, because they don't play in New York. They don't like grave robbers or something. I don't know if he was a grave robber. I don't know, but that was quite a sight to see on a nice brisk morning walk in Brooklyn. And I've seen a lot of other stuff, like guys shoved in front of trains while I was standing there. I saw a guy get electrocuted. I saw a car like smash into itself, not itself, but into a pole and catch fire and explode. And, there was just so much intensity with just how people are from everywhere there. And they're all just congested. But if you were out on the streets the way I wasn't homeless or anything, but I was out all the time. There is no rest for the wicked. I was like up all the time. You lie down and there's always something to do. There's always some art event, or, someone's always at that time calling on the phone. Although nowadays no one even speaks on the phone. It's like a big faux pas now to have a conversation. But I still have them, and people still enjoy to talk to me, I think. So that's something that I enjoy. But I love New York City, certain aspects of it. But it has gotten too expensive. I was offered a job to begin broadcasting out of New York City. Probably just going to franchise the show through the city. Maybe in like a month or so. We'll see. We'll see if that even materializes. And that's how deals are. Deals come and go all the time in the business or in trade or whatever you're into. you could begin and plan on something. It's just like a film in itself. You start a film, and it's not done until it's done. There are many, many films that get started and never go anywhere. And they even have what is known as major actors or actresses attached. You may even have funding, but the crew or the director doesn't get along, and so they back out, and it's just a big war of ego. And that's kind of similar to how radio works. In radio, you have a lot of conflicting personalities, but you have to try to get along with one another. And then obviously you have conflicting belief systems and so on and so on. And you'll have people that will just, do things to undermine the project, or, they'll hold back on stuff, and it's counterintuitive to getting anything done. But, like in radio and like in film, it takes a team to hunt you. Nothingness is apparent and can suddenly visit itself upon us at any random moment. Lightning of the overmind, we have entered into the Ides of nothingness, and death arrives at appointment when I call. A ceremony of existence end. Et nihil perpetuum. Yet we will never flow in the left-hand path of non-being, but certainty we are the new flesh of renewed urgency. Lest we dissolve into grains of sand in the time of us, the centrality of evil is a reckoning bringer. It rises above the ordinary, the downtrodden and the immobilized, fixated. Suffering brings one closer to individual reality. The black magician who loses sight of the demonical cannot understand himself unless he comes into contact face to face with the demonical in his being. I want to set you on fire, oiled and bound with serpents. Bite down, lie back now, swallow and choke in contradiction. No countervailing power will save you. Priestess of the denial, yes, my daughter in the great crystal palace, from which every daemon is exalted and every virtue of the perverse explored, every inhibition cast out. This is the cosmic rationale of the satanic purist. We live for destruction and renewal. We live for desperate ambition, to cast out insecurity and weakness, always attain, always grasping for the onyx platinum ring. I have reached the pinnacle of my loneliness. From here the expanse is immense and settled. I am pristine in my isolation, not wantonness, but I have ripped out the shards of the possessed, broken dementia to live and be evil again. And that is from my new book. And I like it. It's really interesting. Black Magus Excelsius, Black Mage on high, Black Magician on high. And I was thinking about the whole concept behind it is really growing on me, but I don't think I'm ever going to publish it to the general public. This thing is just really kind of going to be a lucid, free-flowing experiment on my part. I did develop a book cover. I was talking with publishers and stuff and different groups that I talk with, and they're like really wanting it and all this, and I could probably knock it out in short order. I was even going to have it for Halloween 2014, but I think I'll probably have it done by the end of February, to be honest. I'm writing about 5 pages a day. And it is some life experience thrown in there, which is a lot of fun. And I've had quite a life to live. Yesterday's show, in reference to Crowley, in the King's Temple, some OTO people weighed in and said that I was cracked and that my information was wrong, and that Aleister Crowley channeled, or the AWAS creature himself. I'm in disagreement. In a lot of aspects, in looking at Crowley, I have researched it to the extreme. I've been to retrace steps. I've done more than any Crowleyite probably would ever want to do. And I'm not really even a Crowleyite. I'm an occultist who likes other occultists, you know. I mean, I like Jane Farr. I like Alex Sanders, you know. I like I like the whole gambit, all different types of individuals. You know, even that crazy kooky lady that, ran AIM. You know, I'm just into this. But I'm not saying that one knows more than the other. We can be allotted our own experience or our information as we divest it. In looking at what Aleister Crowley was doing, I think a lot of this putting the feminine out of the experience is wrong. His wife clearly was the channel in the king's chamber during the time that Aiwass came down and conveyed the book of the law. All he was a dictationist. You know, if I've been dictated to, I would say that. I would explain that. If somebody went into a channel and I wrote down their words, I don't think they're my words. I think they would, the channel is the word. His wife should have been given credit on the book of the law, but not for Crowley. His ego was too crazy, and he was out there, man. I mean, he was into his own thing with that, and then later she went mad, and Crowley, even in the Aleister Crowley tarot deck, in looking at the work with Freda Harris, who's a master artist, I viewed the actual templates of the work in the Occult Museum in Amsterdam, and they have this big, long, alacritous thing about Crowley, and then they have this small little thing about Freda Harris, when it's Freda Harris's artwork. And I'm like, this woman is fascinating. Crowley is just a dictationist, because really in tarot all it is symbiology on top of other symbols, and it's monkey see monkey do, to be honest. Now, I'm a tarot person and I use it as an accoutrement, but to really say that Aleister Crowley had the more premier aspect of it, I think the artist herself had more of an aspect of it, of the creation of the Aleister Crowley tarot deck, because looking at the immensity of the work, Aleister Crowley was a master at how he could convey occult symbols to her and how he wanted to see them. But the art came in when she did it, not when he could not do it, or he would have done it. And so there was a line there. And there was a collaboration. It's an amazing collaboration. It is my favorite tarot deck in all of the world. And I own probably too many tarot decks to even worry about. And even ridiculous tarot decks that I find very entertaining, as we all do. But in thinking of Freda Harris as just like the secondary obedient slave to a slave master, and they've even said that in some books, like, oh, Crowley was a slave master or something over her. And I'm just like, well, that's not a thing to say about a master artist. I mean, it just makes Crowley sound like a pig. And he was in a lot of ways. He was a pig that was being jabbed with heroin all the time, because he clearly couldn't hold his own drug, and he let his life be destroyed. And especially after the failure of the Abramelin ritual, which I had spoken of in previous episodes of the Pentacle-Hours, Freda Harris was this, master of how to do color and color's inquisition and the refinement of how the image was. And, if you see these images firsthand, they're just spectacular. And being conveyed to the 78, cards of the tarot themselves, the company did a really good job. I think it's U.S. Games now that owns the copyright. But they've really stayed true to the rendition. I own a very rare rendition that has 10 alternates. So there was 78 images and 10 alternates done for that deck. And even that's been erased in my short lifetime. I don't think they even do the 10 alternates. And I don't even know if the 10 alternates exist anymore. But in my tarot deck, they do. I definitely have, is well known about the Maguses, the different variations and takes on the Magus itself. And the Magus in tarot, since it is kind of running into a line now, as we run into synchronicity here on the Pentacle-Hours, as we often do in my free-flowing experiment of this philosophical discussion. The Magus is a paramount higher arcana card within the entire deck. The cards are symbolic of the earth, water, fire, air, and the arcana is the world upon which they play. The Magus is one of the most powerful cards in the deck, and it brings about renewal and power and all these things. And I've used it as an activator card, but I stopped using it as an activator card. And an activator card is simply the card in the middle that represents you, that will cause a fulcrum, that will be the dwelling point for your reading. Because I've gotten such mixed results, and I found it to be arrogant to use activator cards. But I'm seeing it more and more that people are using activator cards in the higher arcana. And I think it's something to be kind of cautious of if you are doing that. Because, check your ego. Check your ego and look at what the tarot really can tell you, as opposed to, you just trying to force a result. Now, there is tarot manipulation, and you can, through the forcing or the laying out of certain cards, bring about a result or an element or an energy around you. And you have to be careful with tarot manipulation as well, as not to be devised as arrogant. So if you're doing it, try to come from an altruistic standpoint. And that's rare for me to say that, because I'm not an altruist. But I've also felt the backlash of the tarot. I've gone against the readings that I've gotten. I've received tower cards and warnings, and I'll be like, forget it. I'm still going to do whatever I want, and and I'll face that, wall, and then there'll be that realization, like, oh wow, I should have, not disheated this freezing outside, right? I'm like, time to go to my house in Miami and chill out, right? I almost said a curse word on the air. I'd get in trouble for that, wouldn't I? Because it is too cold. But I like the cold. I get a lot done when it's cold. I do a lot of writing, obviously. It's not really anything lined up this weekend. It's been a fun week with New Year's. Not spectacular, but fun, kind of weird. A lot of supernatural experiences. Some good feedback, some negative, so that's good about my show so far, since it's been crossed over some time. Maybe I think it's only been on for like a month and a week or something, not too long. Maybe it'll continue and maybe it won't. I'm supposed to do a TV show. I'm supposed to do a bunch of stuff, so we'll see how things go. I know I'm going back to Los Angeles to visit some friends, probably in short order, and we'll see how that goes. But that's always a lot of fun. In regards to my Hungry Ghost discussion yesterday, I received some feedback from people that had similar experiences. And I had one friend post something very bizarre about wanting to actually inflict some weird kind of thing upon herself in a way. I have to discuss that with her. I just read it briefly, and I was like, wow, this is really weird. Or not weird, but just out of character. Very out of character. Couple people I knew, not really know, but associated with. I have a huge network of different people that I associate with, or kind of have, not even associate even too strong. Acquaintance, possibly. Jump off a building or something, like yesterday. And this guy who did it, he was a good writer, decent poet guy, not a poetess, but a poet person. And I was reading some of his poetry because it's blowing up online. They're saying, this guy, and I'm not going to name names, jumped off a building or something. And, it's typical around the holidays, you're going to obviously have suicides or people doing something. But you know me and my odd nature, I want to see if that's true or not. So I get out my cards, and I don't know if it's really truly a suicide because it just doesn't add up. The person was seen 24 hours earlier. He was happy and so on, or at some party or New Year's Eve or something. Although people do put on a show, they could be in dire destitution with a big gaping hole in them, and they refuse to admit it, and they're walking around like the walking wounded, and putting a funny face on it or trying to get through it, and then go and jump off a building. That happens, okay? Yeah, and I've known people to do that. I knew a woman that I used to work with in my art and stuff, and came home and found her hanging in a closet. So anything's possible, okay? Anything's possible with people. But in this particular incident, some of the stuff doesn't add up. His poetry is kind of morose, depressive, true. Most of us write from any particular source. I write from anything I really want. I write from my laughter, my good times, and then I write from my dark comedic side. I laugh from my sadness, or not laugh from my sadness, but I write from my sadness as well. So I write from the full spectrum of my personality, which is actually pretty rare that I've found. Because I've found that in writers that I meet, they write from one particular source, and usually it's from their sadness. That's usually their driver. Sometimes anger, not so much. Because in anger, it all sounds the same. It all sounds the same. It sounds programmed. They're writing from a sense of internal depression typically. Sometimes you're getting others that are writing for entertainment value, like screenwriters. Now, that is a different form of writing. That is writing, but that's not poetry or novel writing or whatever, or experimentation or lucid or whatever. So, but my point is that from one particular source, we draw our conclusions or our writing, but I technically can write from the whole gambit. But I found that most of this person that jumped off a building yesterday, is from the source of depression, anxiety. And then as I was reading about it, researching it a little more, people were sending in their condolences and false statements and all this kind of thing, which they typically do, like, oh, I knew Billy for 5 years. Yeah, right. You never even met the guy. You know what I mean? So there's so much of that going on too. You have 90 comments of people that would never talk to this dude before, and then all of a sudden they're weighing in, you know what I mean? Like, it's all a joke. And that's the hypocrisy of our society. But deviating further, I don't think that he killed himself. I think somebody probably pushed him off a building. I did my tarot reading on it, and there are some things that don't add up. He was in a parking garage, and it was somewhere near like downtown or something. So, he was either brought there and thrown off or something, because, there's other ways to do it. So it's just a tragedy. Clearly it's a tragedy. I'm just not sure, because I kind of trust my psychic ability and trust my tarot cards and so on when I look at things like this, as I've investigated murder and missing people in the past, and I kind of am really good at it. To discover that there has been foul play in this. I'm not going to go forward with it. I have zero actual physical evidence that anything other than just the regular, guy's sad and jumps off a roof. But it just doesn't add up. 24 hours before he's at a party, he's happy, and then he ends up on some parking garage, and he jumps off a parking garage, and it's New Year's Day or something. I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of deal that went south, or he got caught up in something, or somebody wanted something. I've seen so much stupid stuff in my life. My friend owned a $500 car and it got stolen. The only purpose why it got stolen is so one guy could get across the city and move his drugs around, But it got rid of the car. So that's how random and unexpected the events of just the criminal element can visit itself upon you, because you never know. And that's why, again, as I said yesterday, no days on alert. Always got to be on the lookout. Always got to be watching, and you don't want to be like that. Everybody wants to be laissez-faire and go along and have some fun or whatever. But I don't know. In today's day and age, it's important to kind of keep a lookout. And so this is a perfect example of this guy who, it does add up that possibly, he was depressed and he was this poetry writer and sent out some messages or something saying he's down and jumps. But it just, in looking at it from the outside, it doesn't add up. But it is freezing cold here in Chicago today, and I feel kind of weird. I've been having a lot of astral experiences, unwanted. I had another one last night, and you can convey some of your astral experiences as well. Getting emails from deniers of the astral experience altogether, which is common. It's not for everybody. It's not going to happen for everybody. It's just like magic. It either just clicks for you and it happens, or it doesn't. You're either in tune with the spiritual nature or you're not. And that's kind of how astral is. But, astral kind of visits itself upon me recently, so it shows outside intervention. It shows some kind of force that's possibly trying to astral in. So I'll have to get to the bottom of that, and I will. But, some of these other people that are sending me these astral messages is something about meeting me or something in the aether. It's probably not going to happen. The aether is anyone's aether or mind or aspect, unless I know you or something, I'm not going to just go around traveling in the aether to hang out. I'm Winter Lake. This is the Pentacle-Hours. Having a little fun today. I don't know why. I'm in a good mood. Shouldn't be, right? It's the doldrums of death outside and destruction and Yeeties running around and freaks on the train and nonsense of the past creeping up into the present, which is okay. That's what life's all about, isn't it? You know, I swore off speaking about 2013, and I'm already speaking about it every day. So that's your contrarian philosophy passed on to you today from AM 1710 XM FM radio and QU4, whatever, reality, which is kind of fun. I like this dream that I just got, so I'm going to interpret it. This person is drowning or believes they're drowning, suddenly awaken to find that they're sleeping on a rock or something, or in a rocky area. And they get up, and they're on these rocks that are uneven. And the rocks are always shifting. And as they shift, her foot, it's a woman, her foot goes into the rock and comes out, and she seems to be like merging or becoming part of the landscape or something. And then she finds some kind of like super weapon and blasts herself free and runs out from the rocky place into this utopian landscape. And up in the top of this tower, she sees this other woman glaring at her. And I'm not going to, again, name names or something, but she knows the individual that's glaring at her and feels negative intent, possibly some kind of thing, evil eye exchange, and then wakes up, and actually wakes up in fear. Now, true to deduce that this individual, is bogged down or mired in something or trapped or stuck on something, with her foot not being able to get out of the rock or something. That's clearly symbolic of that. But I'm going to go at it from my viewpoint. The woman definitely in the dream is putting stumbling blocks in this other woman's way. So you're getting this kind of effect that this other woman is actually jabbing at her. And when two women, especially witchcraft, go after each other, or if one is a practitioner of witchcraft and the other one is not, the other one that is not is at a weak point. Especially if there's something involved that the witch wants. If the witch wants her man, if the witch wants her money, or the witch wants her job or something, then you got to watch out, because there is travail to be had. And it would never be spoken of, because that woman's goal is to have success and to strike out against the other woman. And when they do go at it with each other, the wounds in the battle is over vanity, and it's usually always fatal, if it gets to the extreme of that. So in looking at it, this woman being trapped in a rocky space, but finding this weapon that gets her out of it, I think maybe she should have vaporized the other woman in the dream. Maybe that would have, eliminated her problem. But in this particular dream, I think the woman that is in the balcony of this utopian existence that's where she wants to be, and that's where where you were is her intention for her. So there's this conflict going on, clearly. And the glaring and the staring is very symbolic from a witchcraft standpoint. You can really tell a lot by, obviously, as everyone knows, if you are into magic or witchcraft, by what person's eyes are doing, or what their different social cues are doing, and so on. It's very important to pay attention to that, especially if you know that the other person's a practitioner. And how this other woman just sort of glared at her with negative intent definitely espouses the evil eye. that, we're going to bring you to ruin. I am going to bring you to ruin, and nothing will stop me. I will wreck your house. I will curse your possessions. I will just send you into a dispossessed, derelict state. And that is what the evil eye's intent is meant to be. I have projected the evil eye on people to great effect. It's an amazing way to really mess with somebody. They mock it and they'll laugh at it, but when they go home at night and they're alone, they'll think about it or they'll dwell on it because that stare will still be upon them. And that's where it stays in that place and time with how the evil eye works. I wrote a spell called Triangulation of the Evil Eye and how to do it and how to down your enemy that way, and I've done it before, and it's amazing. Because if you just lock on to somebody, look at them with intent, and project ruin upon them, they will fall into ruin. You are bringing them into a negative space, and your intent is to bring them, as I said, to destruction. But does it have to be justified? Not necessarily. Witches of old during the medieval ages were being falsely persecuted, so they just started randomly doing it to people. A neighbor who they suspected or anything, they just started laying waste to all. It's a war of all against all at that point. So, you really don't have to have justification for the evil eye, even minor slights of it. And that's what's amazing about it, because it's mental projection to bring ruin on another. Now, it's satanic, it's evil, it's not altruism, it's not white light or whatever, but that's not really what the whole point of it is. It's about bringing, through the redemption of vengeance, you to a solid space. And it's an amazing, effective thing. And this dream immediately, as I am a psychic, immediately drew me there. It immediately pulled me to the fact that this other woman was projecting the evil eye upon her, putting stumbling blocks in her way, keeping her from advancing as a person. But I think she did find her key to release in that dream by finding that super weapon or something. And I know that's kind of outrageous, but if you just look for the symbols, there is something that she can find in her life, some kind of weapon or tool or accoutrement that will banish this other woman's intent on her. So she has to go around, possibly and it will come. There will be something. It will happen so randomly in the reality that she'll see it and she'll just know what it is. Like, she'll tell somebody something, and this will feed back to the other woman and make her go crazy or something. Something to disrupt the event that is going on in the dream that will bring about this, deflection of this curse from this other woman. And people in society are constantly cursing each other. This goes along with how I don't believe in karma, because everyone is always at each other in this rat race reality. True, it is the conditioning of the government structure and the money-mongering society has us in. But we're in it. So you might as well admit it, and you might as well live by the law of the wolf. Because if you're not a wolf, you're a sheep, and you're going to get devoured. And that's the law of the beast. There are always losers in most of the time in society. I've lost more than I've gained. However, I'm really good at gaining. And winning, whatever that is in a reality, using that term by that great actor, star friend of mine, winning, which is great. Cleo LeVamp loves that as well. But the situation with karma holds no real place in society. And I think if people throw away karma and realize that it doesn't exist, that they'll be, in a better space, and they'll be able to function more clearly in society as on a whole within their life. Because, holding on to this thing, if I wrong this person back, or if I do this, I'm going to reap negative karma. No, you're not. It's not going to be there. Society would have been wiped out long ago if karma existed. It's not necessarily the act of just going over and screwing people over. If you're doing that, you're going to get into causality, and someone is going to pay you back. But if you are indwelling in acts of, redemption, an eye for an eye, then things will be, justly paid back to that person. And the evil eye is a good way and a good method to find a solution to a one-on-one basis, especially in a corporate environment if you have an enemy there. Because, they won't know what to do. They'll be intimidated and they'll mock it and laugh at it. And I've had that done to me. And I've also had them suffer seriously because of it. Because in particular, in one recent incident of the evil eye, I wanted to sow dissension between this guy and this girl. It wasn't for the intent to get the girl or to get the guy. I'm not gay. I don't care. But I just don't like this girl at all. I don't like her. She has always rubbed me the wrong way. She thinks she's just so great, and she snubs me and stuff like I'm trying to get with her. And I don't want her. I don't want anything to do with her. I think she's a disgusting person. I see her out and in these different places where I go, and it just drives me mad. I don't like her because she thinks that I want to get on her or something. And she's played these little games in the past. She'll have this boyfriend guy, and she'll be coming up and talking to me and stuff. Not really flirting, but thinking that I'm flirting with her. Oh, I know you're so into me that, now I'm talking to you. How do you feel? No, baby, I'm not into you, and you disgust me. And the minute I can, I'm going to just lay waste to you because you are just a horrible, disgusting little troll. And I saw her again recently and tried to do the same thing to me. And I'm just how many evil eyes do I have to give? Why isn't it working? Well, it's not working. And I know why it's not working, because she's been informed. I did tell this person to her face, but she didn't register it. It was told secondhand, and then she took steps to protect herself against the evil eye through someone I know. And it just makes me angry because I wanted success with that. And I'm not that determined to bring her to ruin. I wanted to mess with her a little bit. I wanted to screw with her, and I'm not getting my satisfaction because it's not doing what I wanted. I did sow dissension. I did break her from this dude, and I did a lot of things that influenced this creature in her life. But I'm not done with this one yet. And I'm just deviating, giving you an example as how these, true enough, it can be petty. But when it visits yourself in life, these things are petty anyway. But it also makes life fun. It makes life more interesting because you're escaping the doldrums of regular reality. But, yes, there are steps to, I just got an email. People are listening live, obviously, 5 to 7 Central Standard Time. From New York City that says what are these steps, that can be used to block the evil eye. Well, yeah, if I'm going to talk about bringing the evil eye, I might as well talk about blocking the evil eye. Don't have eye contact with the person unless you really know them and trust them. Keep your eye contact limited and don't really engage with that person. Keep it very hands-off. Don't be one of these people that just hugs around on everything because you'll be a victim. That's one good way. Also, if you've already been a victim of the evil eye, there are some very simple things to do. But I'm not really going to go into that because I have some things yet to do with the evil eye, and I want it to run its course. I do, and I don't know why I'm getting interference on my radio today. It's very odd. Probably because I'm talking about ghosts or something on yesterday's show, and it's been crazy ever since. But I do want to play a little music, so. Who is settling, but intention and impulse. I kill in order to rise above the rungs of mankind. A demoniacal insinuation climb to escape the run-of-the-mill humanity. Horizons grow closer in the prescience of Lucifer. I have a deep sense of the supersensory, of the here and now, the expediency of elemental evil, urgent and receptive. I will give you an authentic death that you deserve, featuring in funeral, fractured, a corpse crushed into ash. For the light of enlightenment becomes its own darkness soon enough. In misanthropy, has it all been done before? I think not. I am an inventor of the wheel of death. I will tie you to the crossroad of Hecate. She will stand over you and anoint your heresy, force you to enter the era of inquisitions, shed your blood with severity. You will come to own the truth of the whip in a world of lies, away from the weeping and sighing public, conflicted in the self-deception of inverted awareness, centrifugal and distorted. Transformation configures in the Satanism that I hold for you, a black mass under the howls of Hollywood and the Harrowed. I like my new book, and you're in and living in the psychopathic playground of America, so it's kind of fun to read from it as it's evolving. Black Magus Excelsis, which probably won't get published, but it's a lot of fun. And it's streaming and going on its own direction, very similar to how my recent writing pattern has been in screenplays. It's very structured, and you'll have an outline, a treatment, and then you'll go into it, although I can write a screenplay in a week, just off the fly, on any topic, really, except some stupid topics, you know. I don't just write anything, you know. My main frame is drama, dark horror, dark comedy, and then just some stupid other types of comedy, which is kind of a rare thing, but I guess comedy and death go hand in hand. I'm probably going to be one of these people that die with a smile on my face. How cliche is that? But I have such an odd sense of humor about things. I just don't take anything seriously. You know, I take everything with a grain of salt and kind of just go with it. Society, you know, like ours or whatever this psychopathic playground is, takes itself so serious most times. I think if people just stepped out of this box, and they would get along a little more. But, you know, elitism exists, like the hierarchies of hell. You know, we all really think a whole lot of ourselves, you know, and it's very hard to get out of that trap, you know, especially Satanism. A lot of Satanists, or supposed, whatever using that term is, they're just arrogant pricks, and they're just so caught up in their own ego and their nonsense that it's, you know, hard to talk to them. But they don't do anything. They're just little armies of one, you know, running around thinking they're great when they're just a loser, you know, to be honest. People that are like this kind of really irritate me. And it's in all facets of life. It can be some millionaire, whatever, or just some broke dude who thinks he's great, you know. They don't have anything to offer the world. They're not philosophically, you know, sound. They're not looking to add anything. And a lot of critics have this in common as well. You know, it's always easier to criticize someone, but to actually do something is an impossibility for these types. Critics are a joke to me. I do like criticism. I do like positive and negative criticism because I like to read from all aspects of things. And I do think that things can be learned, you know, and tweaked all the time in reality and in life and so on, that through criticism is a possibility. But most people in today's society are just criticizing to criticize because they're just angry and bitter. Misery likes company, and they'll undermine each other just for doing so. And that's where, you know, black magic is a great equalizer in that aspect, because I have no time for these types. I like to bring them to ruin, as you heard in my last little tirade about the little troll that I'm annoyed by in my little circle of nonsense. But that will be addressed. But the thing about people in general that are just disgruntled and just want to spew their nonsense everywhere and want to bring everybody down. Everybody's got to be negative. It's time for all that to end. I mean, to be honest. And it's ended in my life, and I recommend for anybody out there to end it in yours, because it's just stupid. If you're carrying on in false things and you know they're false, or or forced or whatever, then just end it, because it's stupid shit. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people are caught up in that. But I see it all the time. This backstabbing new reality. People just downing each other, just to do it. They're saying, oh, his music sucks, or, she's this and all this. Who gets time for that? I mean, we all do it, but it's annoying. And in 2014, I thought, myself, I'd turn a corner with it, but evidently I didn't, because, it's resurfacing. So, no new resolutions for me. That's just how it goes on the Pentacle-Hours from 5 to 7. There's new goals and new guidelines and new places to go and some new things to do, but life is short. You never know when the rug's going to get ripped out from under you, or if you're thrown off the top of a parking garage on New Year's Day, Because every day is New Year's Day, and you can make it happen, or you can end up on the concrete. And a lot of people are. They're being thrown under the bus by their friends, or abandoned by supposed false friends, or people that don't have the power or capacity to be a friend. And they dwell on their weakness, and that's where they belong. It's unfortunate. Their insecurity shines upon them, and they don't want to address things. They want to continue to be in their little cage. And that is unfortunate. But that's how a lot of society is in a sheeple realm reality. And try to get yourself out of it. But if you would like to email me, and I do announce this every show, you can email me at wolfloki@yahoo.com. You can also reach me at winterlake.com. And I do upload my Pentacle-Hours shows every night, so you can re-listen to them. They're also rebroadcast on this network late in the evening times, I've heard. And people call in late in the evenings, not realizing that no one's here. So you want to call in live between 5 and 7 Central Standard Time. When I announce calls, it'll be 773-217-8344. I'm not going to take any calls today, but that's the number for a notation if you'd like to call. And it's funny because I have friends that blow up my cell phone every time I have a show. And it's like, guys, I can't take your calls now. You just do this to be stubborn. I mean, I message and I mess around and play with it like that, but we aren't truly live. My show is unscripted, and it is free form. Sometimes I'll have a guest. Most times I don't. You're going to get all of the wrong bells and the wrong whistles and the wrong music at the wrong times during the show, because that's what happens on a live show. Live shows are very hard to do. They're very intense. If you've ever tried to do one, you will learn that you have to have a certain method and a confidence. It's like commanding the stage. You have to come on and command, and it's not for everybody. And people that try it, that don't really have that determination for it, typically fail. And in a live show, you'll have to forgive some of this thing that happens on my show, like, maybe a loud banging noise in the background as the ceiling falls out behind itself due to a ghost or a paranormal activity or something. That's happened here. Or if the lights go out, or if the system just suddenly drops out due to electrical interference, that happens too. But, that's... Don't read too much into it. I like just in a Sisters of Mercy mood. I've played a few of them. No subliminal messages. I'm just in a mood to hear some good sisters. Enjoy the band quite a bit. Seen them several times. Last time I saw them was at the Electric Factory in Philadelphia not too long ago. And then I saw them, I think they played some other big stadium place around, but I travel to see him if I can see him, because they just put on an amazing show. He's so intense. I don't know about this new album. Everyone's already downloaded it. He hasn't made one penny on it. It's probably, this is going back to what I talked about with downloading, how it's destroying music. It's probably going to make him disgruntled. He probably won't write another record, and so on and so on. But, I don't know. This whole thing with downloading, it's wrecking the music industry. And I download too, and I don't want to, because it's available. And I think the mechanism needs to be taken out. Because I'm a musician, but I'm not really chasing incentive. But these guys that are doing it, like Sisters and all these other bands, they need to pay their bills and have some incentive, And with downloading, if it would stop, if they could remove the mechanism some way, bands might be able to make money again and not have to tour themselves to death in order to survive. Because touring is very intense. It's very intense. It's a lot of different time zones. It'll mess with your head. Yeah, you think, it's all easy. You're getting all these girls or something. It's all that true, but that doesn't pay the bills, and that's all nonsense, at least from my perspective. That's a waste of time. If a band is going out to try to make money to survive, but they need to have their record sales to balance it, And it's just, record sales don't exist anymore. Bands are just putting out their album, and it's basically free, as we all know. It's all on all the other different search engines. But I don't know any way around it. File sharing is almost, I hate to say it, here to stay. It's really, ruining and wrecking the music industry, or ruining the incentive for bands to create music because they can't pay their bills. And they're even creating a lot of one-hit wonders, where bands will come out, make an album, see what happens, realize there's no market, and then quit. And that just sucks because there's so much potential. There's a development process with music that you have to go through. As a musician myself, you write out roughs, and then you master them, and you make them better, as you progress. But that also takes money, and it takes time, and it takes a commitment. And like if you're in a band, it's like dating 5 people all at once or something, even though when I usually do my own projects are like with 1 or 2 people, and I don't date them, so there you go. But there are ways around it. But typically, in downloading this whole thing, it's wrecking it. So, Sisters comes out with a record, and it's even mediocre. He didn't really even try on the record, in my opinion, which is unfortunate. I think, and I like the band, but he needs to get back to his roots and so on and so on. But it's hard to get back to your roots if you're not making any money, doing, trying to do it. And the record sales have been like non-existent. So then you're dealing with a whole other factor of things. It just sucks because, as a musician myself, that's what I'm looking to, but I don't have or share that position. I have money, and it's different in different ways how it works. So I wouldn't necessarily view my musical aspect as, a way for me to necessarily make money. But not all of us got it like that, Not all of us got it where we can just, do what Winter Lake does and have his radio show and maybe, buy another antenna when he wants to and expand his own network and, travel around and build himself like that. Because, if you're a musician, that's your position, or you're working some job to support it, to make it happen, And that's why downloading has to stop. And I've been attacked on this. I've had people say, oh, you don't know the big picture. They're making money this way, or they're making money that way. There are certain groups that are making money, yes. These conglomerates, by rebroadcasts and so on, they already have money and they're making money, yes. loads, I'm sure. But it's not the band that's making money. You need to clarify. Sales of individual records go directly to the band themselves. And I see my friends struggling, and it hurts me because I know I hate to be the bearer of bad news, even when I do tarot readings for them. And I'm like, yeah, this project is not going anywhere, or if it does, it's not really going to have the incentive you want. I mean, if you want to be famous and, have sex all the time, there you go. But that's not going to be anything even anytime soon either. There's going to be a major hurdles and struggles in between there. But it's just a disappointment because downloading is here to stay, and that's how it goes.
She'll be bleeding again, and little pine ways will alleviate the pain.
28th day. Do like Peter Steele. Great guy. Brooklyn, New York, reminiscing. Sad that he's dead. He was a titan in music. Saw him live at the old Avalon Club in Chicago. Saw him many times in Brooklyn when I lived there. Put on an amazing show. He's just sarcasm and laid-back, dark comedic guy. We got along pretty well. It's funny. There's just so much nonsense that went down. I guess today's all about New York. I don't know. I'm probably going to end up back there someday. Well, no, I'm back there all the time, but living there, I don't know. Who knows? It's just too stressful. I like the train system, though, because you can get everywhere all the time, anything all the time. I mean, here, too, but it's slow somewhat, and it's kind of, people here are just, transient from everywhere else, similar to New York, but there's still a thing about New York that's different from Chicago in the aspects of it. Obviously a faster pace and different scales of reality with money. I used to read for this heiress lady up on the Upper West Side near Central Park, and she had more money than God, and just ridiculous how the different disparages of wealth exist in New York because this woman hasn't worked a day in her life and had some crazy ass things going on with her, and used to pay me a good chunk of change to give her readings, and just going in her place, marble, opening and all this stuff, and art collection. I mean, that exists here or whatever, but I don't know, it's just different in New York, I guess. And I had quite the fun thing going on. But today, after my show, I may do some music here in the studio. I think there might be another party or something. I don't know what's happening. I might attend to that, maybe not. But going to be rounding out my Pentacle-Hours show today. It's been fun to just have a little talk and a little chat. Kind of a New Year's opener. Next week, we're going to have some guests on. I'm going to have gentleman from the Freak Easy who puts on a Burning Man event here in Chicago, which is huge. I'm going to be speaking with a photographer that travels the world, and hopefully my druidess from Ireland, Jenny Butler, is going to be able to call me in. That'll be a lot of fun. So we're going to have some fun little conversations next week that you probably won't hear anywhere else, and not that it really even matters, but I'm not really looking for, having some conversation with, super God rocker this, or, I'm the highest intellectual at Harvard or whatever. That stuff to me is just so tired. It can be whatever. I mean, it's interesting to have a conversation with them. Maybe they wrote a book that's interesting. I may want to speak with this man who was a professor, and now he says he's like a serial killer or something. I'm not even making this up. And I mean, he's not caught or killing people, but it's in his family lineage. And that to me kind of is interesting. People like that, you know, connected to the supernatural, connected to the occult, and realities therein. You know, I like that aspect, and that's what the Pentacle-Hours is all about. I'm not just, you know, this stupid talking head radio show that wants to discuss politics or rail against this feeble politician. I mean, that's just like nonsense to me. You know, the whole aspect of our current culture, in my opinion, needs a revolution, and it would take a whole nother thing for that to happen, because people in society right now are so apathetic and they're dumbed down. I don't think anybody's going to have a revolution anytime soon.